We will now proceed under the 4-minute rule with questions. I'll begin by recognizing myself for 4 minutes. Ms. Patty, I want to start with you. I am so sorry for what you experienced. I'm so grateful for the work that you're doing. I've watched you speak a number of times, and I noticed that you always lift up the experience of those that were with you at the detention center, and I really appreciate that. I understand that when ICE pulled you over, they also detained your friend who was in the car with you. Is there anything else you want to share about his experience?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. My friend Brandon, who is along with me, he is a half Mexican ethnicity, has a Hispanic last name. I think the most kind of standout experience that he had in the detention center was he was asked he was taken into another cell by 3 Homeland Security investigation agents who offered him, they offered him a Coke and candy and were wanting to talk with him and kind of insinuated through their language, like, you seem to be in some real trouble here and we can help you out. And then proceeded to offer him money or legal support for any undocumented family members he may have, or like legal support if he had any family members who wanted to get into the country, in exchange for names of other undocumented people that he might know or names of protest organizers. There was another Hispanic man in his cell with him who was offered the same deal. They both said no, but that was a pretty wild experience that he had.
Thank you for sharing that. It's outrageous, and we've had this happen in our country's history at different times, and I just think it's very important that we understand what tactics these agents are using. Mr. Mayell, you spoke about, how the Department of Homeland Security is violating the constitutional rights of people in Minnesota. Just this week, I played that video of the ICE agents with battering rams battering down the door of an individual without a judicial warrant, and I demanded whether any of my Republican colleagues on the other side would defend that behavior, that violation. I want to ask you about this. How the rights are conferred by the First and Fourth Amendment of the United States apply to all people, citizen and non-citizen, regardless of immigration status, and how what you've seen from DHS is violating those rights? You have about 50 seconds.
Thank you, Ranking Member. So I'll say, Congress has already put strict limits on ICE and Border Patrol's ability to make arrests without warrants. And that's a really important note here. Under 8 U.S.C. 1357A2, 2 conditions must be met before an agent may conduct a warrantless arrest. The agent must have a reason to believe that both the individual is in the U.S. in violation of immigration law and the individual is likely to escape before a warrant can be obtained for his arrest. And it's important to note also that reason to believe means constitutionally required probable cause, and it must be particularized with respect to the person being searched and seized. And what we are seeing is that federal agents are conducting these arrests without even asking people anything about their community ties or both of these marks, and they are flouting these congressional requirements, these legal requirements. And I'll say, even in their own statements, they are misstating the law. In September 2025, in this post that has not been deleted on DHS's X account, it states that under the Fourth Amendment of the United States Constitution, DHS law enforcement uses reasonable suspicion to make arrests. And that's just a misstatement of the law. It's probable cause. And they repeated it in December and said that DHS law enforcement uses reasonable suspicion to make arrests again.
Yeah. Thank you so much for clarifying that. My time has expired.